Good day, good people, and welcome to Revolutionary Belovedness, where we take time each Sunday to encounter with reflections and practice for you to enable a deeper connection with your own belovedness. If you will, let me know in the chat section that you can hear me okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Whether you are joining the live session or watching the recording, we thank you for being here. Tonight, our reflection will be on honoring ancestors, teachers, and living lineages, recognizing the wisdom and sacrifices that shape our spiritual path. Before we begin, let's take a moment to center down, to settle into a posture that expresses dignity and receptivity. Allow your spine to rise gently and your shoulders to soften. Let the breath move at its own natural rhythm. Feel the steady presence of the ground beneath you. Sense the quiet companionship of those who walked before you, those whose lives shaped your own in seen and unseen ways. And welcome their memory as a living current of love. And rest in this awareness that your life unfolds within a vast communion of ancestors, teachers, and companions across time. Friends, every authentic spiritual life unfolds within a lineage. No one awakens alone. The longing for God, the hunger for justice, the instinct toward compassion, and the capacity for contemplation all arise within a web of influence that stretches across generations. Wayne Teasdale's vision in his book, The Mystic Heart, helps us see this more clearly, affirming that spirituality matures through encounter with wisdom wherever it happens. It's integrated within one's own tradition and nourished by a universal stream of mystical consciousness. To honor ancestors, teachers, and living lineages is therefore to recognize that the path beneath our feet has been formed by countless acts of courage, sacrifice, fidelity, and love. When we begin with the concrete, lineage becomes tangible. An ancestor may be a relative whose quiet perseverance steadied a family during seasons of upheaval. An ancestor may be a community elder whose integrity shaped moral imagination. An ancestor may be a spiritual guide who embodied humility of heart and demonstrated that holiness is expressed through compassion and disciplined practice. Lineage includes saints and sages, reformers and mystics, activists and contemplatives, artists and healers. And it includes those who cultivated solidarity with all beings and those who spoke prophetic truth when comfort would have been easier. So honoring them grounds the spiritual journey in gratitude and continuity, and from these lived examples, a fuller vision of lineage begins to unfold. And that fuller vision is articulated in Teasdale's description of universal spirituality. He names actualized moral capacity, solidarity with the earth and all beings, deep nonviolence, humility, which we reflected on last week, sustained spiritual practice, mature self-knowledge, simplicity of life, love in action, and prophetic witness. These 9 elements are not abstract ideas suspended above history. They were and are embodied in real lives. Each quality was learned through discipline, tested through hardship, and refined through experience. Teachers and communities carried these virtues across generations, often at significant cost. Friends, when we honor living lineages, we acknowledge that our own desire for transformation rests upon their perseverance, and that these virtues reach us through transmission. Transmission is the quiet miracle at the heart of lineage, because every lineage carries a story of how wisdom travels. It moves through language, ritual, song, silence, service, and example. Families pass forward stories that shape identity. Faith communities transmit patterns of prayer and ethical commitment. Movements for justice hand on strategies of nonviolence and courage. Monastic communities preserve rhythms of contemplation. And indigenous traditions safeguard ecological reverence. So you can see that spiritual inheritance unfolds through embodied practice. And honoring lineage invites us to recognize these transmissions as sacred trust rather than accidental inheritance. Friends, as we recognize this sacred trust, our understanding of spiritual development begins to shift. The recognition of lineage shapes how we understand our own growth. And rather than perceiving development as individual achievement, we begin to see it as participation in an unfolding story. The virtues that we cultivate today often echo commitments made long before our birth. A dedication to simplicity may reflect ancestors who learned to live with enough. A commitment to nonviolence may reflect teachers who embodied restraint and courage. A longing for contemplative silence may mirror the interior devotion of those who prayed faithfully in hidden places. Our lives resonate with patterns formed through generations, and that resonance calls for historical awareness. Friends, honoring ancestors, therefore, includes acknowledging the context in which they lived, because many navigated social constraints, political upheaval, economic hardship, or institutional resistance. Some practiced faith quietly under pressure. Others stood publicly at the edge of the inside, loyal to tradition while calling it toward greater justice and compassion. Their perseverance shaped the spiritual landscape we now inhabit. So, recognizing the historical and cultural realities they faced deepens respect for their integrity and prevents us from romanticizing their lives. And lineage does not end in memory. Living lineages continue this transmission in the present. Spiritual teachers, mentors, and companions embody wisdom in ways that shape our perception and practice. Their presence forms us through example as much as through instruction. Communities of faith sustain rhythms of worship, service, and reflection that anchor daily life. Honoring lineage, therefore, includes honoring those who walk beside us now, those who model humility, patience, clarity, and love in ordinary ways. And through them, we see that lineage remains dynamic. And friends, as our awareness widens, we recognize that lineage extends beyond any single tradition. Wayne Teasdale's Into Spiritual Vision affirms that wisdom emerges across religious and cultural boundaries. The universal stream of mystical consciousness flows through diverse expressions. When we recognize that saints and sages from many traditions share common fruits of compassion, humility, and solidarity, our understanding of lineage expands naturally. And honoring ancestors includes honoring the broader human family, whose search for truth enriches our own path and situates our story within a larger communion. At the heart of this honoring lies remembrance. To honor lineage is to practice remembrance. Remembrance gathers stories and names and gestures and teachings into our living awareness. Remembrance recognizes that memory itself carries formative power. Through remembrance, we allow the lives of those before us to inform our present choices. We learn from their courage and from their limitations. We receive their insight and carry forward their unfinished hopes. And in doing so, remembrance matures into stewardship. Remembrance invites responsibility. Each generation becomes a steward of the inheritance it receives. The wisdom that's handed to us seeks embodiment in our time. Honoring ancestors, therefore, includes discerning how their virtues might take flesh in contemporary context. The commitment to solidarity with all beings may call us into ecological awareness. The dedication to nonviolence may guide our responses to conflict. The discipline of spiritual practice may anchor us amid distraction. The prophetic voice may inspire us to speak with clarity and compassion. So in this way, lineage becomes dynamic rather than static. I want to say that again. We may have never thought of that before, that lineage becomes dynamic rather than static. Lineage lives through adaptation and fidelity. You see, teachers in every age interpret inherited wisdom within new circumstances. And honoring them includes appreciating this creative fidelity. It includes recognizing that spiritual maturity involves both continuity and renewal, and that much maturity is sustained by attentiveness. Friends, within this larger frame of remembrance and stewardship, the practice of sacred listening supports our honoring. When we listen, we offer attentive presence to the voices of ancestors and teachers. We receive their stories with humility and openness. Through listening, We attune ourselves to the textures of their experience and the depth of their conviction. Listening prevents the reduction of lineage to abstraction, and it allows inherited wisdom to become intimate and instructive. So, friends, our ancestors, our teachers, and our living lineages, when received with that kind of attentiveness, well, grief often follows naturally. Alongside listening, the practice of grieving deepens our reverence. Grief arises when we recognize the sacrifices embedded within our inheritance. Many ancestors endured hardship so that future generations might flourish. Some bore wounds in silence. Some faced misunderstanding or opposition. Grieving their suffering honors the cost of faithfulness, and it protects remembrance from becoming sentimental, and it roots gratitude in truth. So this interplay of honoring, listening, and grieving nurtures humility. Humility grows from the recognition that we stand on foundations laid by others. It fosters gratitude for gifts received, and it fosters courage to carry them forward. So through humility, lineage becomes a source of strength rather than superiority. And our honoring expands once more. Friends, honoring ancestors also includes acknowledging those whose names were forgotten or whose contributions remained hidden. Communities were sustained by countless acts of care that never entered official records. So taking time to recognize these hidden saints expands our sense of belonging. It affirms that holiness often expresses itself through quiet fidelity. That is revolutionary belovedness. It affirms that lineage includes far more than what history remembers. From family to tradition to humanity, the horizon of lineage stretches even further. Humanity itself forms a vast communion of ancestors. The earth holds the memory of countless lives. Ecological awareness reveals that we are participants in a cosmic story of interdependence, interbeing. So honoring lineage includes reverence for the planet that sustained our forebears and continues to sustain us. It includes commitment to living in ways that bless future generations and protect the conditions for life. And friends, all of this leads toward a transformation of identity, because ultimately, honoring ancestors, teachers, and living lineages shapes identity as participation rather than possession. We are heirs and stewards. We are recipients and transmitters. And the virtues cultivated by those before us invite embodiment into our lives. Their sacrifices call forth gratitude expressed through action. Their wisdom encourages fidelity to truth and compassion, and thus remembrance culminates in lived response. This is engaged contemplation or action and contemplation, where the key word is and. And so, friends, as spiritual communities embrace this honoring, they cultivate depth and resilience. Memory becomes a source of strength. Gratitude infuses practice. Responsibility inspires engagement. The lineage breathes through collective remembrance and present commitment. Collective remembrance and present commitment. And through that, continuity becomes visible. In our sacred remembering, the spiritual path reveals itself as intergenerational devotion. Ancestors, teachers, and living companions surround us as witnesses and guides. Their lives illuminate the way forward. By honoring them, we align ourselves with the stream of wisdom that flows through time. And we carry their light into the present and extend it toward the future, trusting that love expressed faithfully in each generation continues to shape the unfolding story of humanity. So, friends, before we go into practice with our guided meditation, I want to offer just 2 or 3 minutes of silence to let you consider what has arisen in your heart for you as you've encountered this reflection. Maybe there's something, a takeaway. Also, during this time, I want to offer you an opportunity to enter into the chat anything you'd like, as well as including those ancestors, teachers, and living lineages that affect your life. Just type them in the chat. No explanation is necessary. And we will honor them just by witnessing their presence in the chat and in this space together. Take a gentle breath. Let us enter the silence together. Friends, now we are going to enter into a time of guided inquiry that invites us to experience ourselves as participants in a living lineage. And this guided meditation flows from the recognition that our spiritual path has been shaped by ancestors, teachers, and communities whose wisdom and sacrifices continue to breathe within us. We're going to honor them through remembrance, attentive listening, and tender gratitude. You're invited to find a comfortable position. Allow your spine to rise with quiet dignity. Let your shoulders soften. And feel the steady support of the earth beneath you. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. And sense that you are seated within a vast communion across time. And imagine behind you a great gathering. Ancestors known and unknown. Teachers whose words formed you. Elders whose example steadied you. Let this gathering stand in gentle strength at your back. Feel their presence as support. Bring to mind one person whose life shaped your spiritual path. Notice their face. Notice the tone of their voice. Notice the quality of their presence. As you remember them, where do you feel it in your body? Is there warmth in your chest? Is there steadiness in your spine? Is there softness around your eyes? Let yourself listen inwardly. What virtue did they embody? What practice sustained them? What courage did they carry? Allow their wisdom to echo gently within you. Now, widen the circle. Sense generations stretching further back. Some lived in times of scarcity. Some endured injustice. Some prayed in hidden places. Some labored so others might flourish. Feel the weight and strength of their perseverance flowing toward you. Notice your breath. Notice any tenderness that arises. If grief comes, let it be an expression of love. Grief honors the cost of faithfulness. Place your hand over your heart. Whisper inwardly, "Thank you. I receive your gift." Now shift your awareness to the lineage of teachers and communities that sustain you in the present. Spiritual friends, mentors, writers, guides, communities of prayer and service. Feel how their presence shapes your daily rhythms. And notice where in your body you sense clarity, courage, or compassion that reflects their influence. Let yourself listen once more. What are you being invited to embody now? What virtue seeks expression through your life? Sense that you stand within a flowing stream. Behind you, those who formed you. Within you, their wisdom taking flesh. Before you, generations yet to come. And feel this dimension of lineage. Feel the openness to the divine source that inspired their transformation. Feel a gentle light descending through you. Now, feel the horizontal dimension. Connection to the human family and the living earth. Threads of belonging extending outward from your heart. Rest here in this communion. You are heir and steward. You are recipient and ancestor. Friends, as we enter into the silence once again for a couple of minutes, carry this rhythm with you. Breathing in, I receive the wisdom of those who came before me. Breathing out, I carry their love forward with gratitude and courage. Breathing in, I receive the wisdom of those who came before me. Breathing out, I carry their love forward with gratitude and courage. Friends, take some time now to gently deepen your breath. Feel your body in the room. Sense the ground beneath you. Feel free to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your shoulder and neck and heads. And return with the awareness that your life participates in a sacred continuity. And may you honor the lineage you have received by embodying its deepest wisdom. Before we sign off for the evening, I have 4 questions to prompt some group dialogue. We have time to do that now. I'm going to read each one of those and paste them in the chat. You can feel free to provide maybe your short answer now for one or more of these questions. The questions will end up being placed beside the recording later in the Mighty Network. And so you can go there and journal about those more in depth at a later time if you'd like. So the first question is, how does recognizing yourself as part of a living lineage reshape your understanding of spiritual growth? The second is, which ancestor, teacher, or community has most profoundly shaped your moral or contemplative life? And what specific virtue do they invite you to embody now? Third, what sacrifices within your lineage stir gratitude or grief in you? And how might that awareness guide your commitments today? And then fourth, in what concrete ways are you acting as a steward of the wisdom you have inherited for generations yet to come? I'll just sit here quietly for a minute to see if anyone would like to respond now. And then we will send you off with blessings in a moment. Friends, whether you were here for the live session or you're watching the recording, again, thank you with deepest gratitude for participating in this small community. We are forever grateful for your presence and your participation. And we hope to see you again next Sunday as well. Until then, good night to all and blessings to all.